but now to belong to my memories. On Doctor's advice, I had to leave it to make a new start in the bracing and fresher air of the Kent coast. I took one last look at the street, put all regrets from my mind, and set forth to a new life, still as a reporter, but to a world where the sea and not city smoke dominated. Ramsgate was my destination, and I had the choice of many trains, for Ramsgate, only 72 miles from London, is well served by 4 main London stations. Soon I found myself outside the Spick and Span station. I travelled by an early morning train to report to my editor on the East Kent Times, so few holiday makers were yet astir. The Inquiry Bureau, a smart modern office, was right opposite the station, the best vantage point for a stranger to Ramsgate. I asked the way to my new offices and was directed to the East Kent bus stop. The local bus services are very frequent, and I was soon on board to be taken into the town of Ramsgate. My new offices were in a more friendly street than Fleet Street, and one day my stories might be billed outside. The editor wasted no time. After a cheerful welcome, he sent me on my first assignment. Go and find out about Ramsgate for yourself, he said, and write the story. Well, I started at the Royal Harbour. The harbour is the heart of Ramsgate. From the sun deck on the East Pier, I watched the shipping. The lighthouse sends its rays out to those sailing near the Goodwin Sands, and I was able to look back at the town and see my new home spread before me. The duty officer regulated the constant flow of shipping. Craft of all types leave these stout sea walls, and the famous Ramsgate lifeboat was to be seen at exercise. Ramsgate looks after those who go down to the sea in ships as securely as it does its holiday makers, and already I'd begun to feel that security too. There was an atmosphere of welcome, and the strain of city life had gone. I look forward to writing about Ramsgate more than any story I'd ever written before. From above the east pier of the harbour, I gazed back over the main beach, where in the distance stood the churches, hotels, boarding houses, restaurants, shops and theatres, and all that makes Ramsgate a focal point for discerning holidaymakers. I strolled along the eastern promenade, and there below me was the famous bathing pool of Ramsgate, the marina, glistening in the sun. Here surely was a good place to continue my story. Here I could interview both residents and visitors to Ramsgate. There was the high board, and the shallow end, especially for children, and people like myself. I made my way along the promenade, which was superbly laid out with well-tended plants, down the steps of the Winterstoke Chine. Here I asked my way to the marina entrance, and I was soon there, ready for another chapter of my story. I met 2 girls from Ramsgate's own Aqua Lovelies, and they agreed to show me round Ramsgate with their friends. With such attractive guides, my story looked like being a scoop already. Now down to the main beach. Sheltered by the cliffs, it's a sun trap facing south, and a paradise for children with soft sand, and where the family can relax together, enjoying health-giving rest. Ramsgate provides telescopes for admiring the views. Dad's on holiday, all right. Home that evening through beautiful Ellington Park, a lovely retreat in the town, delightfully laid out. On the balcony of my room in my boarding house, my story began. But I had a special event to cover that evening, the Ramsgate Water Carnival. Ramsgate is a town of enterprise, and residents and holidaymakers alike join in the fun. The carnivals are expertly organized, and the many colorful floats included one with the aqua lovelies themselves. Water skiing is a feature of all the water carnivals. Although this girl was not so lucky, her recovery from sinking was first class. The thousands watching her gave her a great cheer. And so the carnival progressed from event to event as night fell over the town of Ramsgate. Then two water skiers with flaming torches circled the inner harbour at great speed, thrilling the crowd with their skill as they interchanged, ducking under each other's ropes. Then the climax was reached with a magnificent display of fireworks, a regular attraction of the summer season. But Ramsgate features lighting. Gaiety is personified in its streets and buildings. Even the harbour clock house forgets its sombre work of the daytime and puts on a gay front at night. Both young and old enjoy Ramsgate's lights. Next day, the Aqua Girls, now reinforced by two more, decided to show me a village. It was an unusual one, set in the heart of Ramsgate town. If anyone ever uses the phrase, "It's a small world" to me again, I shall always remember Ramsgate's model village. From the world of make-believe to history. The girls took me to Cliff's End to see the Viking ship Hugin, which commemorates the landing there of Hengist and Horsa in AD 449. The stone tells of the visit to Ramsgate of Prince Jorg of Denmark in 1949, in connection with this replica of Hengist and Horsa's boat. Hengist eventually became the King of Kent. Hengist must have known a thing or two to select Ramsgate. At the moment, I feel like the King of Kent. At the Westcliff Bandstand, I called in at the matinee in time to hear a song from Phil Kaufman, or Uncle Phil, as he's affectionately known. He told me how much he enjoyed working in Ramsgate in the good old style. Then down below the St. Lawrence Cliffs to talk to more holidaymakers, young and old, on the wonderful bathing beach there. Ramsgate is a resort where the children bring their parents. Just one of the variety of sailing craft one sees in Ramsgate. And another. The pleasure steamer Queen of the Channel was now docked in Ramsgate. We had decided to take a trip to Calais on her on the following day, so I thought I'd take a look at her before returning to my digs. She's a beautiful craft and one of the many proud vessels of the General Steam Navigation Company. Then I saw the anglers. Ramsgate is a great place for fishing. Here, on the East Pier, I found several devotees of the sport of King Neptune. There are angling contests held every year in Ramsgate with most attractive prizes, and here were practiced anglers. Just to oblige me, this boy wrested a fish from the ocean. The suspense was nerve-wracking. The air was fraught with fanatical excitement. Ah, well, and so to bed. And to get to sleep, don't count sheep, count rams jumping over the gate. The next morning saw us boarding the Queen of the Channel for our no-passport trip to Calais. Ramsgate is only 29 miles from the French coast, and this ship runs regular trips across the Channel during the summer. Back at my boarding house, after seeing Calais, my story was growing fast. My kindly landlady, like all in Ramsgate, went out of her way to make me feel at home and to help me with my story. No need to type in your room, she had said. Use the parlour. I'd certainly found a home from home. It was she who suggested I visited the ice show at the Granville Theatre. It was a splendid idea, for Ramsgate specialises in first-class summer shows with up-to-date dance halls, old-time dancing and cinemas. So to the Granville Theatre on the following morning. I made my way round to the stage door to meet some of the brilliant artists of the record-breaking Carnival on Ice show. They were rehearsing, for they had 3 changes of programme. Mr. Lou Barber, the producer, was directing a new act, and 2 charming skaters, Stephanie Lloyd and Sally Ross, were rehearsing this routine on the stage. Every year this show continues to break the theatre record. It all looks so easy on the skates. Mr. Barber told me where I could find the comedienne, Lucille Gay. Ever tried to cross ice without skates? It was not a good start to my interview with the tallest girl in show business, but Lucille soon put me at ease. She gave me a good story, too, for she's been a favourite at Ramsgate for 3 years now. Then Sally and Stephanie gave me their Ramsgate stories, but they both talked at once. Past the Albion Gardens on my way back to lunch, I stopped to admire the Madeira Walk waterfall, a delightful spot. The landscape garden work of this kind in Ramsgate is always perfect. I again met 2 of the Aqua girls, who suggested we see Ramsgate from the air by taking a plane trip from Ramsgate Airport that afternoon. that evening, the Carnival procession through the streets took place. This is the climax of the Ramsgate holiday season, and the streets were thronged with people to watch this brilliantly organized event. So I duly recorded my last event for my Ramsgate story. Tomorrow it would go to press, if, of course, the editor liked it. I made my way home through the lighted streets with my fingers well and truly crossed. Not long afterwards, we went on an East Kent road excursion. Their coaches are the last word in luxury, and they run many fine regular trips from Ramsgate to see the surrounding Kent countryside. We were off to Canterbury to see the famous cathedral. Back to Ramsgate again, to the bus station near the Royal Pavilion, where a grand surprise awaited me. My story had made front-page news in the East Kent Times. I felt very proud. This spot by the Royal Victoria Pavilion, another popular centre of entertainment, I shall always remember with affection, for it was here I first saw my story for Ramsgate in print. The Aqua Girls had been such wonderful guides in showing me Ramsgate, but I was also grateful to my landlady, who had been so generous in making me, a stranger, feel that I belonged to Ramsgate. Why don't you see Ramsgate for yourself? Write for the brochure now. Here's the address. Publicity Officer, Information Bureau, Ramsgate. I'll repeat that. Publicity Officer, Information Bureau, Ramsgate. Whenever you visit Ramsgate, you'll most certainly be attracted to the picturesque centre of the town, which is the Royal Harbour. For many of our holiday visitors, this is the focal point of activity in this popular Kentish resort. On the cliff top, west of the harbour, a green carpet of grass along the Prince Edward Promenade provides just the setting for an energetic walk. To the east of the town, attractive flower gardens complement their surroundings in colourful array. Down at sea level, modern bathing chalets on the western undercliff are available for the sunbather. The sands are a perfect sun trap, the sea is shallow and perfectly safe for all ages. Behind the seafront and harbour lies the town with its fine shopping centre. Here one can enjoy buying gifts or just browsing. You'll even discover how seaside rock is made. It's interesting to watch a craftsman at work on something which brings enjoyment to many sweet lovers. The Friday market adds its own unmistakable atmosphere with bargains and splashes of gay colour everywhere. But let's look a little closer at some of the scenes which go to make your holiday here a picture to remember. There's the whole variety of boats that can be seen in the harbour, from sailing yachts carefully tended by proud owners to the occasional visit by more seasoned ships. This one's being refitted before departing for Australia. The harbour itself was built in the 18th century and witnessed many visits by sailing ships like this as troops embarked for the Napoleonic Wars. Local fishing boats make use of the harbour, and the skilled craft of the mariner also helps to add interest to the scene. Frequent visits by ocean-going cargo ships lend a very busy atmosphere to the port, which shares its safe facilities with these and smaller craft whose activities are more leisurely. With these French visitors enjoying their wine, perhaps it's appropriate to mention food, whether it's a plate of cockles on the prom, a quick snack with a view of the harbour thrown in, or family lunch at the hotel or restaurant of your choice. You'll find an assortment of eating places to suit both your taste and your pocket. Alternatively, take your refreshment in the open air, and with a cup of tea, a seat on the end of the pier, we're all set for a grandstand view of the United Kingdom Outboard Boating Association Rally. Contestants in this international rally use the harbour as a refuelling stop between London and Calais. Over the years, Ramsgate has proved to be one of the finest fishing spots in the south of England. Competitions and angling festivals are organised throughout the holiday season, both from boats or the piers. For the angler, this is relaxation indeed, although sometimes a partner takes her relaxation in a different way. Never mind, she's not alone. There are plenty of people who feel just the same, and why not? Whichever way you look at it, it's easy to get proficient at the art. And with the atmosphere found in this part of Kent, it's a pushover. It also gives the youngsters a chance to get mum and dad off their hands. In fact, they say that Ramsgate's the place where children bring their parents on holiday. The gentle beach, shallow sea and sun combine perfectly together to give the youngsters pleasure. Mum and Dad can thoroughly enjoy their rest, until the children want to move on. To the amusements, perhaps, a great many of which are right on the beach, and there's a good variety to choose from. No seaside resort would be the same without Mr. Punch and the inevitable donkey rides, always a children's favourite. The amusements are situated along the seafront, and for almost half a mile there's fun, excitement and laughter for all, from the dolphins in training to the more traditional fun of the fair at Pleasurama. Lifts provide easy access from the seafront up to the cliff top, where budding sailors are able to try their hands at oarsmanship in the Westcliff boating pool. Alongside the boating pool, and spreading the length of the Royal Esplanade, the leisurely pastimes of putting and miniature golf can be enjoyed. Full-size golf courses, bowling greens and tennis courts for the more serious sportsmen are all close at hand. In fact, there are plenty of outlets for surplus energy. Getting into the swim, for instance, you'll find yourself in the Marina bathing pool right on the seafront. Do your own thing, or watch others doing theirs. It's all good, clean fun. And if you've ever felt that the world is getting on top of you, then reverse the situation with a walk around the model village. The loving care which has undoubtedly gone into this small world must surely fill its visitors with admiration. If you have an urge to go to the dogs, well, you can do so here if you wish. The well-organized racetrack with several evening meetings a week is well worth a visit and could be an exciting change. That is, if you back a winner. You never know, it might be enough for a trip across the channel, but not in this. Although the Viking ship Hugin makes a pretty picture where it rests on the cliff top above the international hoverport at Pegwell Bay. A contrast between the way people used to arrive here and the way they do now. Hover travel is one of the latest and unique means of transport. Over 250 passengers and 30 cars can be whisked across the English Channel in these giant craft in 40 minutes. This is one of the century's great adventures. And with many flights during the day, there's plenty of time left to look around and shop on the other side. The landing point is Calais, and it's exciting to wander down strange streets and sample another way of life. Even asking the way can be fun, especially when your French is not quite up to scratch. And then, after a taste of continental customs, it's back to Ramsgate, and we're all set for more sightseeing. The county of Kent has some splendid places of interest. One of the oldest seats of English history is Canterbury, with its magnificent cathedral and interesting environment. Peacefully picturesque would be a fitting description for any of the numerous excursions by coach or car to the surrounding countryside. In sharp contrast, the annual Ramsgate Carnival takes over. Starting with a 2-mile grand parade throughout the town, the following week is aimed to give the holidaymaker an extra bonus of fun. And when the beauty queens and decorated floats have disappeared into the distance, there's still the evening to look forward to. At the Granville Theatre, a discotheque, or a show bar, providing a variety of entertainment. We've presented you with a glimpse into a picture of Ramsgate, where you'll find all the ingredients for a marvelous holiday. Whether you like excitement or prefer to take it quietly, whether your taste be extravagant or simple, you'll find in Ramsgate a picture that you'll remember again and again. May we look forward to remembering you.